So if you are a songwriter, you may be missing out on one half of the musical possibilities in your songwriting if you've never written a song in a minor key. And so that's what we're going to look at today. We're actually going to look at creating a chord progression in a minor key rather than a major key. And if you don't write songs or you have no desire to write songs, well, this is still kind of a fun exercise to try because it's a great exercise in music theory, and also we're just playing with chords. So it gives you a good chance to listen to chord progressions and hear how the harmony works in a minor key. So we're continuing our theme of gravity, and this is a continuation of the video that I made on Wednesday talking about how to make a chord progression in a major key, and then also the video talking about the harmonic minor scale. So if you haven't watched those yet, you may want to pause this one and go watch them first, but you can also just watch this one, get to the dark side of the minor harmony, and then if you feel like you need some brightness, you can skip back to how to create a chord progression in a major key. Strike, spark. So welcome, I'm Erica, and Practice Space is for all musicians, whether you are a creative musician or you just like playing other people's music. We work on creative exercises, but we also work on really practical practice tasks and talk about ways of staying motivated to practice every day. So if that sounds fun, you can subscribe to the channel. And I also teach music online, so if you ever want to go deeper into a topic, I'll leave my teaching links in the description. So I'm just going to jump right into the meat of how do we create a chord progression in a minor key. And the same as creating a chord progression in a major key, if you watched that video, we have this sense of gravity, and the center of gravity is the chord where everything is moving towards. And we're going to think in the key of A minor because it's a nice easy key when we're thinking of minor keys. And so the center of gravity is going to be the A minor chord, which is this one on the guitar. So this is where everything is either moving away from or moving towards. And like the major key, the next chord we can take is the fourth chord, so A, B, C, D. And because we're in a minor key, we're going to take a D minor chord. So this is where we start moving a little bit away from our center of gravity. So this lets us take a journey away from the center of gravity, and then we come back to our center of gravity, the A minor. And so then, like the major chords, we can take the fifth chord. So in our case, we've got A, B, C, D, E. And this is where minor harmony gets a little bit tricky because minor harmony can be flexible. And so we do have the option of taking an E minor chord, which would put us into what's called a natural minor sound. But in reality, what we really want is this really strong gravitational pull back towards our A minor chord, because we're talking about gravity this week. So I want to give you the version with the strongest gravity. And this is possibly the more common way of playing a minor key. And this is the sound that may be familiar to you. So instead of taking an E minor chord, we take an E major chord, which has a much stronger pull back to the A minor chord. And so I'm only going to give you 3 chords rather than the 4 chords for the major exercise. And so your task is simply to decide what order you want to play these chords in, which ones you repeat, and how long the chords go for. And because you only have 3 chords, this might be an invitation to make the chords last for quite a while. And then you can use this as a really great practice tool to work on some technique. So just because the chords are moving slowly, maybe you have 4 bars of one chord, 4 bars of another chord, it doesn't mean that you have to play slowly. You could actually work on a really fast strumming pattern if you're trying to get a particularly difficult strumming or fingerpicking pattern happening. It's easy to work on it when the chords are moving slower. So same on the piano, if you're practicing some fast arpeggios, you can practice those through this chord progression. And so this idea of creating a chord progression, we don't have to write a song, but maybe you do want to write a song. You can actually just use it as material to develop other things on your instrument, and a really creative way of giving you new things to practice. And so if you're a singer, I showed you how to use the app iReal Pro to create a backing track for your chords if you don't play the guitar or the piano and you still want to take part in this exercise. So you can go back to I'll link to the major chord video, and you can watch that one and see how to use that app to create a chord progression. And so then the final bonus task, if you're feeling really adventurous, it's the end of the week, you may as well just bring a whole bunch of stuff together, is to create your chord progression in a minor key and then practice improvising with the harmonic minor scale over this chord progression. And so you can go back to the harmonic minor scale video, because that scale fits perfectly with our chords of A minor, D minor, and then E major. We're in harmonic minor territory here with these 3 chords. So you can bring those 2 things together. You have the chords, and then you can practice improvising with the scale, and maybe you'll find that you get so inspired that some kind of little composition comes out of it. But also, if you don't, then that's fine. We're just using this as material to explore music, explore new sounds, and get better at playing our instruments. So that concludes our week of gravity, and I really hope you've had fun exploring all the different ways we can incorporate this idea of gravity creatively, technically, philosophically into our music practice. And next week we are moving to the theme of mirror, which gives us a chance to reflect potentially, but also to do some creative things and do some really practical things that will make our practice more efficient. So thank you for being here, and if you want to support the channel, you can like this video, you can subscribe, you can share this video with friends who are practicing music, and as always, you can stick around for a short relaxation exercise after this, and that just helps you transition from whatever it is you're doing now into your music practice for today. So thanks for being here for this week of gravity, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week when we have a look into the mirror. So let's just take a few moments now to prepare the body and the mind for practice. Make your space comfortable. Take out your instrument and any books or music you need for your practice. And then when you're ready, coming to a place of stillness, either sitting or standing, maybe with your instrument. Soft focus in the eyes, and then taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Then another inhale, and with the exhale, closing your eyes. We're going to scan through the body from top to bottom, just watching as any tension in the body releases, melts away. Starting at the top of the body, the head, the forehead, the point between the eyebrows, the cheekbones, the lips, tongue, the neck, all the tension releasing, melting away. The shoulders, the upper back, and the chest. The upper half of each arm, the lower half of each arm, the wrists, every muscle in the hands, and in each finger, down each joint all the way to the fingertips, relaxing, releasing the diaphragm, the lower back, the area of the pelvis, the upper half of each leg, the knees, and the lower half of each leg. Every muscle releasing, relaxing. The ankles, the feet, and finally the toes. Every muscle in the body released, relaxed, at ease. And then just sitting for a moment, taking another few breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then when you're ready, blinking the eyes open, ready for practice.